Welcome. On the line, I have the honor to have both Jan de Graeve and Jim Smith. Jan is connecting from Brussels and Jim from the UK. Being in the 80s, Jan and Jim have been long-term and very faithful active volunteers in FIG and have contributed to FIG for many years. Jan and Jim have established the permanent institution of history surveying in measurement and have over the years organized numerous workshops and symposia on the history of surveying. Jan, could I please ask you to introduce yourself and tell the audience a little about your long-time journey in FIG?
Hello, all of you, and thank you to be there. I started the first meeting with FIG was 1976 on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the Brussels Association of Surveyors. And my first real contribution was an exhibition in 1978 in Paris on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the first meeting held in Paris 1878. In 75, I presented also a small work in French for the young surveyors. Since then, I'm now 75, and since 75, I missed only a couple of meetings I missed the one in Peking, that was 10 years after Tiananmen disaster. I missed one in South America that was due to work, and I missed one in Israel, and that was because my godchild was married that time. But I went to most of them except the one of the last year, of course, in Holland that was cancelled due to the pandemic.
That is amazing. And it's wonderful also to hear that there were also young surveyors in 1975. So
Yes,
what about you, Jim? Can you just tell the audience a little about you?
Well, what Jan has just said, my equivalent I've written out for part of a thank you, the honorary membership.
Jim, we are gathered here together because the two of you have collected the most amazing 7 volumes of books on history on surveying. So, Jim, can you tell me when did you start working on these 7 volumes, and what gave you the idea to start this quite amazing journey?
Yes, around 1968, I had the idea of writing a book about the history of surveying. After a few years, it was quite obvious that was too wide or too large a topic, and I ought to make it more individual. So I initially concentrated on the expeditions to Peru and Lapland and their results, and hence a book in 1986 called Plane to Spheroid. Now, we didn't actually sort of detail that we would have 7 volumes at the beginning. It more or less started we would have 1, and then we finished up with 7. So the next step led to me going to Cape Town in 1988, because I'd been told by Jan and others that they held some interesting records of a chap called Captain Webb, just on the topic of measuring meridians in order to determine the size and shape of the Earth. Now, when I got to Cape Town, it wasn't just a single schoolbook size set of notes. It was 12 volumes of immaculately handwritten, each with about 300 pages in them. So that was a massive amount of material. And the Surveyor General in Cape Town at the time said, would I like it microfilmed? So this he did, and then I took a year to turn that microfilm into text in one of the early computers.
Wow.
Now, shall I go on just a little bit more?
Yes, please.
This led to writing a book about R.S. Webb in 1995, and you'll find him mentioned in I think the first volume. At the same time, Jan and I were beginning to expand on the Webb's notes, and particularly on India at the time, because George Everest had an anniversary during the period we were interested. And of course, he was another measurer of the Earth. My book on him was published in 1999. Meanwhile, the FIG meeting in Melbourne of 1994 had come along, and the suggestion of aiming for a UNESCO World Heritage Monument arose. What of her next, I thought. And Jan will tell you a little about that, which led to the 7 volumes that are being talked about today.
Thank you very much, Jim. So, Jan, what happened then from 94?
Well, in 94 was a meeting held in Melbourne, so that was Southern Australia, and I had the chance to chair the Commission 1 at that time. And one of the things we created was first the International Institute for History of Surveying and Measurement. That's where I'm still the chairman. Next to that, we created that at that moment the Young Surveyors, and a third thing was the 900 identification or certification of quality. So all that happened during 1994 when we proposed to the General Assembly to try and have the Struve meridian to be preserved in what we call the 9 countries, because I forgot that there was a small island of Hoogland between the Scandinavian countries of Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and the mainland, which was then Letland, Lithuania, and Litauen.
Mm.
And down we went, and over the years we met all these gentlemen, 3 by country, and so we came down over Belarus and Ukraine to Moldova, where Maria greeted us. And so we have been traveling over all these years to try and get the people involved of each of the countries as to go locally to find the places where Struve and General Tenner, who was then the Russian equivalent for the Russian Tsar, to identify the locations where they have been measured and to monument many of these places. So we have traveled quite a lot. We've drunk a little vodka as well. as the meetings ended generally after 4:30, and then everyone had to say na zdrowie, good health to everyone. And so that we created a good humor and a real good working party of the 10 countries together. So, Louise, that's how we started.
This is really fantastic, and it's nice to hear that it has both been amazing work, but also fun work for you.
Oh yes, yes. The vodka party was very nice as well. Yes, Jim and I would particularly thank for the publication of this work of a long term. John Hoggle was the person of the FIG Foundation who took contact with Trimble, our main sponsor in FIG, and they had the idea to prepare 100 sets of the 7 volumes and to give to FIG Foundation the records and the benefit of this auction. We're particularly happy that this long-term work will help the next generation to have a good insight of the evolution of the size and the figure of the Earth that we have been studying for a long time, let's say from 85 till last year. Thank you very much and have a good day in the FIG week, and we're looking for new blood to come and join our board. Thank you very much.
And thanks very much to both of you, Jan and Jim, and thank you for letting us publish these books. Bye.
Wow. Yeah.